All right, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. We got some people coming through the chat saying what's going on. Excited to have everyone here on Monday. I hope a bunch of you here were with us last Monday. We went over the psychology of trading. But tonight we're going to be going over a hedge funds manager's 3 dependable shortcuts for trading volatile tech stocks. I'm not sure if there's anybody better but the Lucci group to talk about that, as that's what they're trading every single day. My name's Kyle Bazzi. I'm president here at MarketFi as well as Benzinga.com. All right, guys, please keep your questions coming in tonight. That's what we're going to be talking about. But before we get into that, for anybody new, and I know I see a lot of familiar faces in here, but anybody new, let's talk about who Peter is first and who the Lucci group is, because what they have to say only means something if who they are means something. Pete is a quantitative and risk management expert. He is a hedge fund sell-side strategist. He's been doing this for a long time. And they are, I think more importantly, they are volatile tech stock traders. I mean, they trade PCLN and Google and Apple. These guys are in it every single day. And Google alone, the Lucci guys have made over $500K this year. So really fantastic guys. Awesome group out of New York. And the rest of the Lucci team, Anand is, the guy that has really got this all started. He was a head trader at a couple of firms, PTG and WTS Prop Trading. WTS is actually the biggest prop firm in the country now. And his claim to fame and what really got him started was at 25 years old, he made over $2.4 million on a 50K account. So we're going to be going over how to trade volatile tech stocks, but we're also going to talk about their strategy and what they do, and also what they teach all their students tonight as well. They also added this summer Zach, the young Buck Musso. It's a funny story. Zach's actually the guy that introduced the Lucci group to me over here at MarketFi. He was an SMB Capital graduate, and also previously at Young Gun Trading. And then last but not least is the pretty boy Charlie Bathgate. He's a good friend of mine. He does all the management operations, and also has been doing that for a lot of startups in the past. What's cool about the Lucci group is you get a group of people as well as MarketFi to help you guys out, both their students, their members, their chat room subscribers. It's a really, really awesome community. And also what's really cool is Lucci started writing and has been writing for Benzinga, obviously my parent company, and then also the CBOE. So they are a premier contributor to the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. So that's not an easy thing to achieve, and their content can be found on there as well. But as we're getting going today, and Pete, we got you on there, buddy?
Yep, hey, Pete. You got me right here, buddy.
Cool, buddy. Hey, everybody in the room, let's get a quick
mic.
Yeah, I got you. Let's get a quick mic check on Pete. Can everybody hear Peter all right?
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. How am I coming in here? Thank you, Brad.
Cool.
Thank you, Frank. All right. Sounds good.
All right, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing all right, doing all right. Wheeling and dealing, staying out of this chop. Hopefully everybody got out of the way of today's action. This could have smoked everybody out there that was trading options. But, overall pretty good. Enjoying the summer. I'm going to China in a couple of weeks, a little vacay. But, yeah, looking forward to tonight's class, actually. I'm sure you're going to talk about that a little later. We are starting the 12-day course tonight, guys. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and get to today's agenda. Kyle, you good with that? You want me to go ahead and hop on this?
Yes, sir. I'm going to go ahead and make you a presenter. Right. So let me get that in. I got everybody's mic check in. You sound all right, so we're ready to get started.
JW, yes, we will be posting this somewhere afterwards. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So let's go ahead and jump into what in the world are we talking today. All right, so essentially everybody out there is looking for the big bangers. All right, everybody is looking for the really big, nice, kind of 100%, 200%, 300%, even 1,000% winners out there, especially in the tech stocks. Shout out to Terry a couple weeks ago, nailed the Apple trade, and he had to have a little bit of a lotto ticket of Apple over, I believe, some little announcement that came out that somebody had a giant position in it, and he was able to score $90,000 on a trade. And thankfully, he was able to read the tape. We will go over that in just a little bit. But, guys, just understand that when you are trading options and when you're trading the tech stocks out there, they pay out for a certain reason. All right? Options are inherently a securities vehicle that pays you out for risk. All right, but this also comes along with lots of potential downfalls. All right, majority of the moves in the tech stocks are head fakes. All right, you can throw on whatever technicals you want, and over time what you'll see is that most of those technicals are going to fail, especially in the tech stocks because they're so thick and so heavy. If any of you guys are actually options traders, you'll actually see that these stocks have what we call volatility levels that are way higher than a lot of the financials out there, and even a lot of the small biotech stocks. You know, some people are always kind of like intimidated by these big stocks just because, you know, they're $500 or, you know, $700, and you got Priceline perking up towards $1,000 even. And everybody's going to ask you, how the heck am I supposed to be able to trade this? You know, traders come to us asking all the time, you know, it's $1,000 stock, it's a $900 stock. If I put my entire account on it, it could get wiped out in a section. And, you know, it's way too fast. And we're here to kind of go over this and make sure that you're not going to get swamped by this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and flip to some charts here, and I'm just going to give you a comparison here. All right, so let's look at the overall movement of some of these stocks. All right, so we're going to pull up Apple, and we're going to pull up, let's try Citigroup. Okay, well, why don't we even try Bank of America? All right, so Bank of America, one of the big leading stocks in the financial sector, you know, is capable of not really that big of a move. Okay, recently, because it got over $8, this thing can really get moving, but for it to be called really moving, it's only going to move maybe 30 cents max in, you know, maybe one day. And getting a 30-cent move out of Bank of America is still a big issue. Look at this giant fall earlier today. You know, we were barely able to even squeeze 30 cents out of that move from Bank of America. When stocks don't have that big of a range, they're considered relatively low volatility stocks, all right? And again, you know, these are things we do teach in our 12-day course, but, you know, these aren't as sexy as a lot of the big, high-tech, you know, high-flyer movers here. If you look at Apple, we're able to get an entire, wow, this is, I'm pretty surprised. The 400 to 500 level was actually previous day. Here we go. And so today we were able to get a giant move. We were able to get pretty much $10 up and down throughout the entire day. If you were a short seller or if you're a long player, you could have snagged a bunch of moves out of here. But again, you have to understand that this comes with relatively way more risk than other things out there. So, you know, a lot of people ask us and kind of, you know, in our classrooms and even in our chat rooms, they have a huge plethora of different types of trading styles. Some people can only trade for certain days. You know, some people can only trade certain hours of the day. Some people can only trade one time every 2 weeks. And then we have traders that have, you know, $100,000 accounts that can trade unlimited times a day. And they're all trying to find their fit. And that's sort of, you know, where our job comes in here. So, for instance, again, guys, you know the fact that when you get to really understand the way that Apple moves and say how Priceline moves, you'll see that it's capable of, you know, $10, $20, $30 ranges throughout a week. All right, if you are not anticipating that and you are playing Priceline or Apple like you're playing Bank of America, you are going to get smoked. All right, and hopefully this is one thing everybody has been learning these days, especially in this chop environment. All right, you know, one of the secret sauces that we do give out in one of our classes is understanding sector rotation. And we actually had a webinar on this a couple weeks back, but it's really important for you to understand that it's not every day that you should be playing these tech stocks. It's not every day you should be playing the financials. You need to be able to analyze and understand what's going on in these stocks, all right? And this comes to the idea of not over trading. If you want to look at another key area that we try to emphasize on is that when you're playing some of the big movers in the stock market, okay, and you're really trying to understand, you know, the movement of the markets on top of, you know, the movement of just your stock, you need to be able to understand that what are leaders and what are laggards. The fact that you even want to look at Priceline, even look at Google, Amazon, Apple, all these really big names, means that you have to pay attention to the S&P 500, you have to pay attention to the NDX, you have to pay attention to the Qs, the entire board. Okay, and this is relatively tough for a lot of traders who are just fresh into this. If you're not paying attention to, what's going on in the markets as a whole, and you're throwing some sort of, kind of moving average on Apple and saying, oh, it's going to go up, you're going to get smoked. Do you know how many people were buying this 510 area? Do you know how many people were trying to buy again at the 508 area today? It's completely worthless. I don't care if she's bullish today. If you're not paying attention to the SPY and the fact that it's dumping, you're going to get smoked in this. You're not ever going to be able to play a high flyer tech name unless you understand how it interacts with the markets. Okay? So for instance, a lot of days, Apple will lead the markets upward and lead the markets downward just because this thing is so heavily weighted. All right? So again, you don't want to overtrade. You always want to make trading easier for you. Tech stocks are exceptionally tough on the psyche. All right? And we have been preaching and preaching over and over again to all of our traders that it's very important for you to make your life easier in trading. Trading, again, is a war of attrition. How are you supposed to win if you're battling every single day? You're going to go through nervous system fatigue. You're going to go through decision fatigue. You're going to go through blow-ups of accounts. And tech stocks can be an ideal way for that to happen, all right, especially in the summers. The choppiest markets out there usually are the tech sectors, all right? Just so you guys kind of understand, from a back-end market structure standpoint, all the big market makers out there, all the guys on the other side of your trades and trying to take your money are actually playing in these names because they're so juicy. They know that everybody wants to play the breakouts. They know that everybody wants to clamor in on, oh no, Icon's got a position. I got to buy, 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 buy. It doesn't work like that. They are anticipating better and faster than you. So you need to be smarter than them. You need to make better decisions, all right? And one big decision there is that you don't have to be in the market every single day, all right? Some of the big money players out there have to play every day because it's a mandate of theirs. It is not yours, all right? It is your job to manage your money and to be able to trade these properly, okay? So let's go into an actual example of how we would actually get into a trade, okay? So why don't we look at Google, all right? And let's comparatively, I'm just going to give you guys kind of the sauce on how we would technically play this, okay? So SPY, overall, kind of bottomed out at 164 a couple days ago, and, people were like, oh, is it going to be a short, all that kind of nonsense. But if you actually look, Google was actually leading the way that day on top of every other stock out there. If you don't understand that, again, check out our classes. The fact that it was leading up on those days means that you're actually able to snag a dip buy on this thing, okay? Boom, big dip buy, and you're able to swing it a little more than the rest of the markets, and you know that it's leading, and you know that, overall, the market's not going to dump if Google's going to hang out, okay? So, kind of like going through the steps of the process, overall, I'm reading the tape. I'm looking over and over again to see how long is Google really going to trickle lower, all right? Is there one day that is going to diverge from how the markets are moving? Let's look at the Fridays here, and let's look at the Mondays here, okay? So let me scroll back real quick for you. The 16th. Okay, so if you see here, on this Monday and on this Friday, you have completely lower lows all over the place on the S&P 500, okay? But Google is slowly diminishing its ability to go any lower. I think actually Google's probably bottomed out at 850. Okay, I think maybe it'll come with another retest, but overall, just as something that I would personally do. Again, you guys are all responsible for your own trades, but I would look for any bounce area above 850 to swing Google up. All right, mainly because again, you have a giant move on Monday where the SPY pops up and it fails even lower. In the meantime, Google makes a giant move higher and holds. Now it's consolidating higher, okay? And that's one way we're able to see what's leading the markets those days. And you need the markets to be led by some of these big movers, okay? Some of these big high flyers like Google, Apple, Priceline, even some of the social media stocks, LinkedIn, Facebook even. All right? You can bunch all of these together into these high flyer names, okay? And a
Hey,
lot of people
Pete.
kind of, yeah.
What does that mean for the markets when you see the SPY doing that? It starts, with a pop and then ends up lower on the day, but you see Google leading the market. Like, what does that actually mean behind the scenes?
So behind the scenes, you're literally saying that, oh, the markets are fading, right? And overall, everybody out there should be fading the markets, right? Everything out there should be going lower. But is there some reason why Google is not going lower? If you're actually paying attention to the tape, it's being supported by buyers because it's already sold off enough that even if the markets are going lower, Google will remain strong. All right. Again, this could be from a day-to-day kind of thing. It could be from hour to hour. But essentially, you need to be able to find the discrepancies between the action in your big high flyer stock and how the SPYs are moving. All right. And so, again, guys, we're going to get back to the point of, how much money can you make on a move like this, and how much do you really have to risk? I'm going to go back to examples of how some of our, chat room traders and even some of the classroom members, how they traded it. They'll be going into credit spreads down here, which is something we discuss in length in our courses. And you could have a relatively low risk reward play right here, where even if it didn't move that much higher, the fact that it didn't go any lower makes so that you'll make money. Okay. On top of that, you could just go long calls. And if you're going long calls, again, there's some secret sauce involved with this, but overall, if you can read the tape and understand how these big high flyers move, you could go and pay, anywhere between only 80 cents to $1 for some of these options and swing them to $2 to $3. And if anybody knows anything about options, knows that if you had $10,000 in that, you'd be up $20,000, $30,000. Now, a lot of people always ask, because it can give you such a nice yield, how am I supposed to manage the drawdowns of these things? Like it's pretty scary, the fact that you can get Google to just move up and down so much. You got from 867 to 875 all the way to 866. How am I supposed to manage these trades? And one thing that we try to tell all of our traders are that, again, one, you want the ideal setup to come to you, but two, there's also risk management involved here. How are you supposed to maintain a stop level? How are you supposed to maintain a rebuy level or whatever it is at support levels when your stock moves this much? Well, you need to get used to it, and two, you need to learn to manage your positions. A lot of our traders have come to accept the fact that every first buy that they make is going to be wrong. They know that, oh, they're going to be buying here, and most likely it's going to come back in, and it's going to be a losing trade. You might ask and say, oh, what's the deal with that? Well, it's because in their risk management systems, they have already told themselves, hey, I'm willing to buy one more time. I'm willing to buy two more times. I'm willing to buy three more times. If you guys, I know there are some guys in here that are, I guess you can say more math whizzy, and that type of strategy is called a martingale strategy. And a lot of people don't like it because it involves doubling up and doubling up and doubling up. But again, when you're playing options, you're talking about an option that's going to start at $1, maybe drop to 50 cents, and then get back up to $2. How do you sit through that? You need to understand the behavior of your stock, the overall range of your stock, how the markets move, and again, how many times you're going to have to sit through it, and how much money you possibly could lose on the actual trade. And again, a lot of people are very fearful of this because, again, high volatility stocks are going to scare the heck out of everybody. If I'm going to buy if I'm going to buy at 872, am I really willing to let it drop to 866? If you had a really good risk management system, you would be able to do it. Again, this is something we do teach in our courses and something that we do hammer a ton on, okay? And some things I just want to make sure you guys understand here are that you do not get head faked, all right? Majority of the time, you do not want to be buying quote-unquote breakouts in your tech stocks. Okay, unless the entire market is trending upward. For instance, here you can literally draw a freaking line, bam, right there, line, bam, and bam, and bam. You know, everybody's so concerned about all this chopping nonsense. Just try to get multiple days where your markets are going upward, and you'll have a slight uptrend. Okay, and what you need to do is when it's not going uptrend and when it's like this, when it feels flat, all right, which is consolidating. I can point out all the flat areas for everybody. Everybody thinks this is like rocket science, but you don't have to turn trading that difficult. Okay, when it's chop, when it's going sideways, this is something you guys are not going to get anywhere else. Okay, I don't care what your gurus tell you, what everybody else tells you to be buying or selling. If your markets are in chop, do not buy breakouts, especially in tech stocks, because most likely that, again, breakouts, only 30% of breakouts even work. I bet you that in chop environments, with what I had just mentioned, that tech stocks are very hard to play and play breakouts in these areas, and they're leaders during these chop environments. You cannot buy breakouts there. Okay, you should be dip buying. If you're bullish, dip buy. If you're bearish, sell the rips. Okay, don't touch breakouts and breakdowns. All right, try to exercise that discipline. Again, when you do have these nice, like elongated, uptrending months, you can, look at one-day chart and be like, hey, I'm going to throw a lotto ticket on, and because the markets are overall bullish, the breakout should at least yield a little bit. Okay, so again, understanding your market environments, understanding overall, if you can even interpret, which I will hopefully, you guys are getting a little bit of a secret here, is that what environment are we in? If I could get some interaction from you guys out there, what environment does Google tell you that we're in right now? What does this look like to you guys? Come on, I want to hear some feedback here. What do you guys think this environment is right now? Frank says choppiness. We in that chop. We in that consolidation. Kumareza, bingo. All these guys are in my in the freaking classrooms. Thank goodness you guys are answering this correctly. We are in complete chop. All right. Is there a reason for you to be playing longer than one day, longer than scalping? Is there a reason for you to not be dip buying or shorting the rips? Mitch says probably a writing environment. Yes, exactly. This this should be very clear to you that you should not be playing breakouts. Okay, until we actually get real movement outside, where the SPY is moving nicely to the top side, where Google is, or even Apple is. I'll put another freaking line. I could just pick random tech stocks, and I guarantee you they all look just about the same as this. All right, look at that Apple. What does that Apple look like? Complete nonsense for you. Let's go over to Amazon. Look at that. It looks like complete trash. All right, what is this nonsense here? Should you be buying breakouts? No. Should you even be trading at all? That's questionable. Again, guys, depending on how big of an account you have, maybe you should be, maybe you shouldn't, But again, the markets are always telling you the story, okay? Especially in bullish markets, remember that tech stocks are considered high flyers and high volatility for a reason. If they are not that volatile and they're just going up in an uptrend, what do you think the markets are in? The markets are probably in an uptrend, okay? So let all these stocks tell you a story. Make sure you have a good watch list. If you're looking at tech stocks, look at your Googles, look at your Amazon, look at your Apples, look at your LinkedIns, look at everything across the board and tell yourself and ask yourself, is this the environment where I should be buying breakouts? Should I be buying 2 strikes out? Should I be buying 3 weeks out? Should I just be playing stock, or should I be sitting on my hands? Again, these are questions that we answer and we try to go over and coach everybody through in our classes. And that kind of wraps it up. So there's a giant mess on our desktop here, but this pretty much wraps it up here, guys, on why you should be playing tech stocks and why you shouldn't. All right, the decision is yours, but let us help you get there. Carl, back over to you here.
Yeah, Pete, let me ask a couple of questions before we get into the course, because I know that some people have some questions about that. How are you guys, and I know you can't go into too much of this, because this is what the course covers, but when you guys are looking at which stocks you're trading, how are you determining those? Is it purely based off of, stuff that's going to move, or, are you just looking at the tech sector?
No. So to just answer that, we have a very small watch list. When you're playing options, I'm sure anybody who's touched an option can understand that the P&L swings are insane compared to if you're playing stock, and they're much more rigorous on the mind. All right, and that's why we have a really small watch list. I can take a glance real quick and be like, boom, is my watch list red or green today? If it's all mixed on the board like it is here, what should I be doing? I should be leaving it alone. And if it's all looking green and I have an uptrend, I need to be able to decipher which one is the best mover. And again, I'm only stocking about 10 to 15 stocks out there. All right, and if 10 to 15 stocks are the only thing I'm looking at, I know these things like the back of my hand. All right, I can tell you Google is not going to move unless it really gets out of the 900 area. You can range trade this all over the place. All right, by the time Google makes its first stab at 900, I bet you the markets are going to top out again. All these things. You have to be able to get used to the way they trade. And on top of that, when we actually get into a trade, when we say, okay, we've got all our arguments lined up on our side, right? We've already said that the SPY is a good uptrend day today. We know that all the components are there. I'm going to look at Apple and say, okay, she's the leader because she's the strongest on the day. Then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pull up the tape, and then I'm going to read through. I'm going to understand how the stock is moving that day and really be able to pinpoint my entry there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and obviously that's a lot of stuff you go over in the course. And and obviously that's a lot of stuff that you go a lot deeper into the course with. We got Zimu saying, is there another industry or sector to be paying attention to relatively to these tech stocks regarding this pre-Labor Day chop?
Zach, I would say that personally I would not be. Just because Labor Day on top of the August drawl that we have, I would literally just not look at anything out there. I want to take a vacation. Everybody wants to be kind of out and about and not really trading. None of the real big pro traders are actually going to be coming back in until probably their kids are freaking in school for 2 weeks and they can settle down and get back on top of things. Okay? If you're looking at Labor Day things, again, guys, holidays are notorious for just complete chop action. So again, if you're playing around those areas, just kind of be careful out there.
We got Hilla asking, what do you expect trading to be like after Labor Day, Pete, before we get into your course material a little bit?
Sure. So, Hilla, honestly, with today's action, I think there was some Syria nonsense going on here. If that's just a rumor, we're probably going to get this a resolution back to the higher highs. And honestly, overall, I think the markets have been relatively bullish. I think we're going to make another stab at 170 by the end of the week, as long as there's not too much exogenous news. But I don't expect the markets to be able to make it over 170. I think that's actually going to yield a really nice short opportunity on the markets as a whole. But I don't expect also that that anything really drastic is going to happen in the markets, maybe even for another month, simply because there's no catalyst. Earnings was over. There's a lot of stock buyback programs that kind of prevented the big quote-unquote dump on the markets that everybody was anticipating. And again, you want to stay ahead of the curve. Okay, you don't want to be playing, what you think is going to happen, before earnings. Try to understand the digestion. So far, we are just in ginormous chop. All right. How long the markets want to stay there, I don't know. But just to, we had a quick market outlook the other day, actually yesterday, and overall, guys, I mean, you could put some major lines on here and just kind of play these ranges, okay? And I mean, I don't expect anything to really move out of the 165, 170 area for a while. And only till then will you get any really awesome moves out of these stocks. And what we say that when the markets don't work well to one direction, in a trending mode, we consider it a stock picker's market, meaning that you got to sit around and you got to look for the mover that's moving without the markets. All right.
Cool, good stuff. Hey, Pete, we got a bunch more questions that are coming through. I'm going to take the screen back, but while I do that, let's answer this Frank question. Is there a platform that we should use to review the tape? TOS doesn't go back very far. And, Pete, real quick, there's a couple of questions. Can you explain what the tape is for anybody that's new in here?
Sure. So tape reading, guys, is there's tape and there's tape reading. Tape is essentially just your time and sales combined with your level 2. Okay. This is back in the day. Traders would actually write on note cards as their receipts for the actual trades, and people would look at them to see who was playing in and out, who was a big player, small player. It's just a lot faster these days, and the tape represents the time and sales, where you get to see the actual transactions and be able to see what's going on in the actual trading world. It's the visual representation of supply and demand. And Frank, to just answer your question in terms of which platform you can use, unfortunately only a bunch of professional platforms offer going backwards on tape. And again, you can hit up Musso, Zach at sanglucci.com if you have any questions on platforms and all that. But there's not much. There are professional platforms on those. Thinkorswim may have a few options to do it, but there are not many out there. Okay.
Cool. Now, Pete, I want to jump in before we get back to some questions and talking about more of what the stuff you just showed us with the tech stacks tonight. No problem, Frank. You just came in saying thanks. Let's talk about your course real quick, because a lot of the stuff that you guys go over, I mean, in our presentation, can't do any of it justice, man. And I know what you guys teach is very, very deep. And one of the things I love about you, Pete, and Anand, and Charlie, and Zach, and the rest of the crew over there, because you guys have a lot of interns that are helping out and whatnot, as your course and your student base continues to grow, is you guys are excellent mentors, right? So I've met a lot of traders out there that said, my strategy is it's bar none. They're going to make money with it, but they couldn't teach for a lick. And you guys have been doing this for a few years now, and have really just evolved into one of the premier actively trading, whether it's options or whatnot, but taking your strategy of reading the tape, and it's been fantastic. So. Pete, I want to talk a little bit about that real quick. Sure. And, I mean, shoot, anybody that, I dropped Lucci's their Twitter handle inside the chat just a little bit ago. Just check out the communication and the back and forth, the honesty that the Lucci group gives you. It's absolutely fantastic in terms of people that are looking to trade this style. And you got to be willing to put the time in. But if you're sitting there and looking for that strategy, or you want to actively trade and you want to trade options, the Lucci crew, they can absolutely help you, but you got to be willing to put in the time. I met a lot of students that have come through here and expected, to take the course and then to work their magic, but they only want to work on it an hour a day. That's not the way it is. If you want to be a true professional trader, this is the course for you. And you can see a couple of the testimonials here. These testimonials are put on MarketFi, which means they come through me, and the Lucci crew has nothing to do with them. This is straight from their paying customers. You can see the experiences that they've had, both with novices and people that are more intermediate expert, right? The strategy in the course really covers it all. And Pete, let's talk about that course real quick. And I know you guys have the 12-day session that starts actually tonight, and we only run it once a month. But can you talk about what's in the course that everybody gets?
Sure. So essentially we've got 12 90-minute sessions. They all start at 8 p.m., Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Charlie is usually the one to set up the schedule for that. But essentially, we have a classroom session where we teach you from A to Z how to read the tape and how to transfer that knowledge into trading options. All right, we give you the sauce on how we trade. All right, this doesn't mean that necessarily you have to take the same style of trading that we do, but it at least allows you to actually understand how to trade options, which options to select, how to trade if you have less than 25K or more than 25K. It shows you, how to be a dip buyer, how to go credit spreads, all that kind of stuff. It's all included. And on top of that, you get, 1 month of access to the private Lucci chat room. Okay, the private Lucci chat room, not a lot of people see, because again, it's only meant for those who are dedicated followers, and you guys that are taking your classes have unlimited access to this course. We talk about current market environments. We talk about what the heck is going on today in the markets, relevant to today. All right, a lot of people don't do that. In addition to that, you get a month's access to on-demand educational content. It's got 20 plus hours of educational content in there. That is a ton. Before you even touch a trade, you should look over all of that and be like, okay, freaking Lucci made this dumb mistake. They made this dumb mistake. I'm not going to do it. Okay, that's what you should be telling yourself. And on top of that, you get an 80-page digital course guide with written explanations, illustrations, showing you what we look at level 2s, all that kind of stuff. Everything's recorded. Again, you have email access to us. You get access to the chat room. You get access to Kyle and everybody over at Market Buy and Benzinga. This is really a full-length course for everyone. Okay. And again, the really important thing about it is that many people don't even understand. May only understand 50% of what we went over the first time around. That's okay. That connects right into next month's course. Be ready for that. Have your questions ready. Everything's open up for that and for everybody to be able to learn as much as possible for as big of a bang buck as possible for themselves.
And that's lifetime access to the course, so you can take it next month and the month after. And I mean, how many students do you have retake the course? I mean, there's a ton.
I mean, I would say that 80 to 90% of our students have all been repeat students. They love to come back in. They love chit-chatting with us. They like to know, like, oh shoot, I just got my dad stuck in an IRA position. What am I supposed to do? And we kind of give them shit for it, excuse the language, and then we help them out. It's literally a huge coaching session for everybody. And if anybody's been around the block, they know that mentors and coaches will take off years of mistakes and years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of pain and agony.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Pete, let's go over real quick. This is the 12-day course. This is the curriculum right on the screen right now. Pete, walk through. I know you guys start with trading basics, but let's walk through what everybody gets in terms of, I mean, you even help everybody set up their platform and their brokerage stuff. So let's go over the actual meat.
So sure. So this is the basic rundown of what the course entails. There's 80 plus pages to all of this. We go over the trading basics, and a lot of people start off trading with not that great of a basis for understanding even the auction process. If I asked all of you guys in here what the auction process was, you probably wouldn't even be able to answer that. So we go over the auction process, formation of candlesticks, time frames, types of trading, understanding short selling, and really the dynamics of supply and demand. Then we get into options. Why are you even trading options? There's a reason why people say equities are dead. Okay, options are where the big spreads are and where the big money is at. Obviously, there's in general more risk there, but again, if you want to become a pro, even if you want to really juice up an IRA and not have that much money out in the markets at risk at all the time, options are the best way to go. On top of that, we talk about tape reading. Tape reading is essentially where Lucci and all of us came from. How are you supposed to know that there's a buyer there? How do you learn to identify what we call the X? How do you know that the trade should be held the entire day or for half the day? Tape reading is how you are able to understand momentum and lack of momentum. And hopefully it's going to be able to help everybody, whether you're a day trader, whether you're a swing trader or an investor, on how to actually trade the stock at the right times. Half the time it's always about, are you even in at the right time? It could be a great long trade, but you're in $20 too early. Tape reading helps you differentiate that. And then we get into the actual methodology of how we trade. This is where, it might look like a small section, but this is the big meat. Okay, we don't want to show people too much of this. This is how we trade. This is how we're able to pull, $500,000 on a $500,000 account. This is how we're able to grow from being prop traders to hedge fund managers. This is how we are able to, have so many followers that are like, hey, thank you so much for helping us out. We've got traders out there that have made more money than us. We look like morons to these guys, and they've done great. And then we get into the trading platforms. Everybody has questions on brokerages, so we threw that in there too. We're going to address every brokerage question you have. Are you with a good broker? Do you have direct market access? Are you paying too much? Are you getting screwed on your fills? All those questions are answered here. And then we get into the really personal stuff. We get into the trading psychology. We talk about the psychology of the markets, how those are always changing. And then we talk about your personal psychology. Are you in the right mindset? Do you have baby daddy problems? Do you have baby mama problems? Are you working a 9 to 5? How much time do you have to dedicate? And how does that affect your trading? A lot of people overlook these things, but I would say that understanding trading is not that hard. But being able to manage yourself and being able to say, hey, today is not a good day for me to trade. I've screwed up royally on so many things. I'm probably going to screw up today. Those are days you should not trade and probably save yourself some money.
I'll tell you what, we did I was with actually a last Monday for everybody how many people were in here last Monday when we were talking about trading psychology last month? Or last week, sorry, last Monday. We were talking about trading psychology, and that is by far one of the, you said it, you touched it, but it's by far one of the most overlooked topics. Marisa, yeah, I know you're in here. One of the most overlooked topics when we get to education, and it doesn't matter what strategy is, whether we're talking about tape reading or charts or, the Fibonacci, or we're talking about, value investing. Trading psychology is the underlying defining trait or skill, I would say, that sets the people that don't make money from the great traders, and that's the truth. And in the depth that St. Lucci goes into it, you guys do a fantastic job of it, and that's one of my favorite parts of your guys' course. And let's go into. I did a screenshot of the chat room, and actually, Deborah asked how many participants are using the chat room. I got a screenshot of the public chat up. Anyone that's not a student can go take a trial onto the public chat. It's only $1 for the first 2 weeks or $49 for the first month. But the chat that Pete was talking about is actually the private chat room, and that's for their students, and that's where you get a lot more people in there. You have a ton of interaction. You get the one-on-one help. If Pete, you remember that one time, I can't remember who it was, but one of your students blew up their accounts, and I mean, Lucci pretty much held his hand for the rest of the day, got him off the computer. You guys were on the phone with him at night, telling him, what's going on, kind of talking about that ledge. You remember that day?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was, those are the days that we live for. When you blow up, where are you supposed to go, and where are you supposed to actually find mentorship during the worst times? That's, we had a comment from Boxton, I'm sure, that he said that Lucci's like the older cousin, that everybody wishes they had mentoring them, but they don't. And we're there for you guys. We're not going to give you any money, okay, but we're there to help you guys through these tough times.
Cool. Yeah. So let's look at the chat real quick, and then the video on demand that Pete talked about, the 20 hours of recorded content. There's a ton of it, and there's all in videos, and you can go check that out. It also goes along with the course guide that you get with the actual 12-day course, which starts tonight. There's 12 sessions of 90-minute courses, all live, and then you also get the recording afterwards. Take it again as often as you like, every single month. If you're looking to seriously trade, if you're sitting there looking to become a professional trader, this is the spot. This is where you learn the truth about options, and a really, really cool strategy that has worked fantastic for the St. Lucci crew. From when Anand was the head prop trader, he used this at PTG and WTS, to now what they're doing with their fund and what they're doing with their students. And I love what you said, Pete. I mean, I've seen countless times that the students have made more money than you guys in the chat room every day, and that's what it's all about. It's not about just teaching you. It's about the application. And anyone that's heard me do a webinar before, I preach that. But I've talked to thousands of products out there, and truly the ones that I see work are ones that don't just preach, but the ones that actually play. And those are the applications, right? How do you actually use this in the market? And they sit next to you in the market, and they show you how they're using it in real time, and you can kind of understand a lot better once you do that, right? It's like watching a film. Like, you want to learn to play football, and you watch film all the time, and you watch film and you watch film, but then you get on the you get on the field, and you put on the helmet, you put on the pads, and you're sitting across from a 300-pound lineman. It's completely different. It's the same thing in the markets. And in their chat room with Lucci, it's at night you guys are watching film, and you're watching film, and then during the day you're with them, right? You're with them on the field in battle, and that's truly the application of how to trade.
Yeah.
Now, what's that, Pete?
I was just saying, definitely, everybody needs time with a coach in order to make it in trading, or they're just going to flop on their faces. And this is a really good way to find their way here.
Now, anybody that was in our education week with Lucci last Monday, we actually offered this deal, and I begged Pete and Anand and Charlie there to offer it one more time, just because their 12-day course starts today. So their 12-day course, if you don't get in today or tomorrow, it won't be around again until next month. So I begged them to get this package back on because we had so many traders come through and take this, and we were just elated to watch so many people that we could see needed help, and we knew we were on the right track. So here's what we got for you. Lucci, they also offer a starter course that we didn't really touch on too much, but the starter course is really just a beginning package. Goes over the basics of options. Pete, what else does the starter course go over?
The starter course pretty much goes over the, you're talking about the OTM course?
Yeah.
So the OTM course, guys, is pretty much, if you don't have time to actually tape read, there are ways to actually visualize through market profiling, which Zach Musso, one of our recent followers, recent partner-ups here, actually goes over with you guys. It helps you actually plot out the entire week from a tape perspective and be able to make sound decisions if you can't be at the computer all the time. It's called on the move for a reason. On top of that, Zach goes over, the market internals. He goes over the market outlook, even, what to prepare for, and it's a really good way to get started with tape reading and before you get into the big course.
Cool. And then you also get the 80-page ebook. So the starter course is $150. The 80-page ebook is $100. You also get the 24/7 support, which I can't tell you how valuable that is when you guys are learning to trade. And then you also get 3 months of chat room access, which is $50 a month. That's usually $400. Again, I'm continuing the package deal from last week that we gave everybody, and that is now $75 with the code SILVER. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link inside the chat for that right now. So if you guys are looking for the Silver starter package, go ahead and grab that. But if you're looking to get more involved, you either need the gold or the platinum package, and this is really where we've seen a ton of Lucci's students succeed, and a ton of people that I've seen it. I mean, Pete, you've seen people anywhere from what, starting off, and you guys even have some more more professional people that come through too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. We've had market makers come in, we've had giant fund managers come in, the whole 9 yards.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So with the gold package, you get everything that was in the silver package. So the starter course, the 80-page ebook, 24/7 support. You get the 3 months of the chat room access. But the big one right here, folks, the big one is this, the 12-day live course that we just went over. All of that content that we just went over on the 12-day course. So let's go back to that real quick. You get everything inside here. You're going to learn everything inside here, lifetime access to the course, everything from the basics, all the way through options, and you're going to truly learn options. And then you get into the meat, the tape reading, the strategy that's taken, Anand from a head trader to a couple of prop firms, all the way to his own fund with Pete. And then you're going to learn more of the Lucci methods, combining the tape reading with options, okay? So tape reading, you can trade other stuff. You don't have to just trade options, but then you get into the Lucci method of taking the tape reading and trading the options, okay? And what's really cool is they go over 2 different topics that you won't see in most courses, and that's talking about optimizing your trading platform and brokerage, where should you be, and then, like I said, one of the defining traits of a great trader, and that is the trading psychology, okay? So this is on the 12-day course. Again, it's 12 sessions, 90 minutes apiece. You got 75 minutes of class and 15 minutes of Q&A, and I know they usually go over that too. And that starts August. The next course actually starts tonight, okay? So the next course starts tonight. All right, let's go back to the packages real quick before we jump back into Q&A with Pete here. All right, so you get all that, plus you also get 2 hours of personal coaching, okay? $100 an hour, and I know they got a lot of personal coaching coaching students out there. You also get 2 hours, okay? So this is like, I need to sit down with you guys. I need you to concentrate on my situation. Here's how much money I have. Here's how I trade right now. Here are my problems. How can you guys solve these for me? And these guys will sit down. This is nothing new to them. There's nothing you're going to bring to them that you're struggling with. There's nothing you're going to bring to them that they haven't seen, okay? And that they're going to be able to help you with, okay? The regular price for that is $31.50. Okay, 31.50. This is as low as they've ever gone, and I had to beg them to get to this, but they'll today only. Now, this is only 24 hours left. $13.99 with the code GOLD. I'm going to drop a link inside the chat right now. $13.99. You know, there's probably a lot of students in here that didn't get that kind of price, but this was for our education week, and I asked the crew to extend it today since today is the 12-day course that starts. You'll never see this price again, guys, okay? And we have a ton of students on this package, all right? Now, the Platinum package, and we had a couple students come through and take this. The Platinum package, this is you know, I talked about the 2 hours of personal coaching. This is if you're really struggling, okay? If you're really struggling and you need a lot of help, okay? You need to sit down. Maybe you've blown up one too many accounts, which I'm sure a lot of us have. If you're sitting there saying there's no way out, trading's, you know, I failed so many times at trading, but I still want to give it a go. This is the package for you. You get everything in the gold package, but you also get, instead of just 3 months of the chat, you get 12 months. You get an entire year with these guys, okay, with the chat. And you also get 10 hours of personal coaching. 10 hours is a lot of personal coaching, okay? That's a $5,000 offer right there. $100 an hour, 10 hours. $5,000 with the personal coaching, okay? Typically at $7,600. It's only $3,999 with the code Platinum. I'm also going to throw that link into the chat right now. Here's the deal, folks. We're about to go over, Pete and I, one of their students that have been with them for a few years, and I want you to picture yourself and what your current state is right now. What kind of trader are you? What are you struggling with, right? And so many traders are, and I hate to say this, are ignorant, saying, I can get over this by myself. That is a losing attitude, okay? Mentorship and education is a continual process as a trader, whether you've been in it for a year or 10 years. And the best traders will tell you that, including Lucci. You heard him. He goes, shoot, some of our students make more money than us, right? It's a continual learning process for even the best, okay? So I want you to picture yourself real quick and where you're at. I want you to think, what am I struggling right now, right? Is it staying profitably consistently, right? Profitable consistently. Is it, I really need to get a hold of a strategy. Is it, you know, some days I feel like I'm spot on, and the next day I feel like, you know, I can't, you know, throw a ball and hit the broadside of a barn, right? Picture who you are and then how you need help, okay? That's what I really want you to do right now. Before I get to the example of Musped, one of Lucci's students, I want to talk about MarketFi real quick and the guarantee we also give you. So here at MarketFi, we are a team, and we built a technology platform that acts as a marketplace that we find all of these great products out there, we onboard them, and we vet out the crap for you. Okay, so if you see MarketFi certified, what that means is, and this definitely includes the San Lucci crew, we go through background checks, we go through the vetting process, we go through the education, we go through the chat rooms, we have people that are constantly monitoring their products to ensure that what you are getting is up to par, right? We want to make sure if you're going to put your hard-earned money into this, that you're going to get back what you expect. And I prefer that that we exceed your expectations, okay? So you get that 24/7 trader care support, whether it's, I had people calling me at 1 a.m. last night on a Sunday night because the special ended at midnight, and they're like, I just missed it. I'm like, don't worry about it, I'll get you into it. That's what kind of care that we give all of our customers, okay? And all the Lucci students get that as well. Again, fully certified, verified products, and real results. I mean, Lucci last Monday went over, you know, they turned 800K into a couple million this year, right? Now think about that account. Think about if you're trading with 50K or 20K. What does that mean for you, right? You can obviously do that math. And then anybody that still buys today, I gave away some in the beginning, but we'll give away more. We have a bunch of gift cards that we were given to us through a story that we wrote that it's $50 worth of free wine. I know that after a good day or a bad day of trading, I can use a couple booze sometimes. So we're also going to be giving those away. All right, before we get back to questions and Pete gets back into his screen, Pete, let's talk about Musped. Lucci had told a great story of him last week, but I want you to talk about it too. Where did this guy start, and where is he now with you? And I want everybody to read the bottom about since I started trading and working with Lucci in 2010. Pete, can you go into the Musped story?
Yeah, I mean, like, Musped is let's just say he is one quirky guy. He's pretty freaking awesome, and he was one of the original followers. I think he was number 3 or 4 in the entire history of following with Lucci, and he has graduated on upward from tape reading. So he started trading little bits, made it here and there, and started making some real big dough. I think he's netted around $500,000, $450,000 probably, since he started trading with Lucci. I think he is just kind of chilling these days, trading. He's actually developing an algorithm. He's a very happy guy. We talk on Twitter all the time, and he's been following forever. And he even gives his 2 cents to all the traders out there who are just getting in. He always tries to tell, don't make the same mistakes. And must-ped stands for must practice every day. And this guy's religious with it. So again, you guys are all capable of doing what he does and even more. And again, just learn from other people's mistakes. Have a coach there. It adds up. If you really want this to be a commitment, and you really think that that you can make some money in the markets, get a coach. Have us by your side when you're making these decisions. These markets are becoming more and more difficult to navigate, and we as traders, are ready to roll.
Yeah, but Pete, did Mustpet, was when he started off, how much money did he start off with, and was he more more of a professional trader at the time, looking for a better strategy, or was he more of a beginner?
He was just a retail trader. I think he had less than a $25,000 account. It might have been like, do you remember the number, Carl? I think it was like $10,000, maybe a little less than that.
So he was swing trading in the beginning.
Yeah, he was swing trading with like an account that was under PDT, that you couldn't trade more than 3 times a week. He built that up to 25, 30K and started taking some really good winners, and then all of a sudden he had a $500,000 account. This obviously took time to do, but we've got plenty of stories. One of our interns even started with an $800 account and ended up turning it to $2,500 so far, doing all right, slowly making his way up there. And again, the good thing about options is that you don't have to put a ton of money on the line in order to make some money.
No, that's real cool, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Pete, let's go. Got a couple people asking about the package real quick. Again, it's the gold package gets you everything, the 12-day course. I think Jake's asking that. The 12-day course, the 3 months of the chat room access, and the 2 hours of personal coaching. That's only $13.99, guys, $1,399. Coupon gold. Check your chat. If you go check the little chat on the GoToWebinar, you'll see a link that will take you directly to the checkout page and also apply it right on there. I'm also going to jump in and show you guys a couple more things. What's really cool about Lucci being on MarketFi is everything is rated, right? So we actually have all of real customer testimonials right on here, and you can see, actually, here's Mustpad Wadhams right here, talking about trading with Lucci. You can see the top one, Matthew Thomas. There's over, we got 67 ratings on here. They got 4.5 stars. Their customers absolutely love them because when you're a student, it's not like you're a student and then Lucci see you in a year. It's a continual community, and it's a continual family there, and of helping you actually learn how to navigate the markets and make money. All right, I'm going to go back to the offer real quick, and then Pete, we're going to wrap up with a couple of questions for the day.
Sure.
Let's see what we got coming in here. Yeah. Jake, yeah, you got, like I said, the difference between the platinum and the gold is really you get the year of the chat room instead of 3 months, and then you get 10 hours of personal coaching instead of the 2. So you still get the 12-day live course, which starts tonight. Pete, what time does that start tonight?
8 p.m. sharp. Be there, be square.
And you got what, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Wednesday, yep.
Cool. So the beginning of the week there, and then you guys are what, teaching at night, and you guys are trading with them in the day, right?
That's for sure. They get a huge dose of saying Lucci.
Huge dose of St. Lucie. That's a good thing. Let me see. Yeah, Mitch, I should have answered your question on the $25,000 account for day trading. Deborah, we got to your question. And then real quick, Pete, and we're going to see the last question before we wrap up here, but are you reviewing interpretations of the Greeks and input on options as well?
Yeah, we are. Deborah, one thing that we try to teach people is that I come from a quant background, so the Greeks are like the back of my hand, but we don't encourage our traders to pay too much attention to it because Again, only if you can actually trade all the options out there and really hedge yourself out is it really going to make sense. You have to be able to read the tape and be able to make a split decision, split-second decision to make a trade. And looking at the Greeks doesn't 100% help there. So we actually teach people a layman's way of actually being able to understand all of those factors and be able to put on a trade without being intimidated by the Greeks.
All right, Mr. Zhang, it's that time already, 5:31. Today we're only going for an hour, but here's what I'm going to do for everybody. If you have more questions about the product, the course, or the chat room, I'm going to turn the recording off here in just a second. Stick around, and I'll be here as long as you need to go through any of those questions. But Pete, let's call that a day, man. I know you guys got the course at 8 o'clock tonight in about 2.5 hours. So I appreciate your time, brother, and we'll see you again in tonight's course.
All right, sounds good. Everybody have a good one.
All right, everybody, I got the recording off now, but if you have more questions about the product itself, we're extending the 24-hour sale just through the end of today. If you guys have any questions about the product, the offering, what the curriculum is, the course, please just type them into the chat, and I'll make sure to answer those for you right now. Hey, Frank, if you need it, it's supposed to end at midnight tonight. I know that the 24-hour sales is up here. This is just because we use a slide from the other deck. But if you need to do it tomorrow, you can. But let me know, because obviously the first course starts tonight. It is recorded, but the first course starts tonight, so you'll probably want to get in there before then. But let me know if you need an extension until tomorrow, and I can help you out. Deborah, no problem. I know that other people are taking other courses and stuff. I'm glad you attended today. Let us know if we can help you out in the interim. You can actually join their public chat still, even if you're not going to take the course today. Get a part of their community and start learning about them. While you're still in that other course that obviously you're looking for a little bit more. So let us know how we can help. Okay. Hey, Sal. Yeah, I actually did take the course. I had Lucci and Pete and all them come out to my office probably. I'm here in Detroit, probably December of last year, and they actually sat down and I went over. I mean, we were here for days going over the material. And this is one of the first major education programs I put on the site. So we went real in depth on all of their offerings. So I can vouch personally for everything in here. Hope that answers your question. Jackie, yeah, you can use interactive brokers. They do have a lot cheaper commissions, but in the course, you can ask one-on-one with Lucci. They'll talk about the platforms and the brokerages for you, because that's a big piece of the puzzle to trading successfully with them. So all of that's covered, and you can get in there with them. So once you get signed up, let me know, and we'll set up a one-on-one with them for you. Let them sit down with you and go over it. Frank, my email is Kyle, K-Y-L-E, at marketfi.com. So that's M-A-R-K-E-T, F as in Frank, Y as in yellow.com. Kyle at marketfi.com. I'll throw it in the chat too for you. No problem, buddy. All right, any more questions for the night before we get started here in a couple Yeah, Sal, I'll drop the link to the gold package one more time. I'm going to get out of here right after that. So check the chat real quick, and then I'll shoot it over to you. Carissa, we just found out that the wine does not go international. It's something with the website that they have, but we'll find something else for you. So don't worry, you know I'll take care of you. No problem. All right, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night. For all of you students, we'll see you guys in about 2.5 hours. I won't be in there, but you'll have Pete and the entire gang. So appreciate everyone coming out. Marisa, Frank, Deborah, Peter, Mitch, Zach, everybody, Doyle. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you guys in a couple hours. See ya.